Right, today we're talking about boning. Chicken, poultry, boning. So, I'm going to show you two different types of boning today. We're going to be doing a normal open bone, and we're also going to be doing a tunnel bone. So with our open bone, it's quite simply, we're penetrating the skin, exposing that bone. Whenever we are working with any type of meat, the meat gives you the structure, it gives you the idea where to go. And if you follow the lines that the meat give you, it makes the whole job a lot easier and reducing any amount of waste as well. So as you can see, I'm coming down the two sides and I'm exposing the bone. Right there we have the drumstick, there we have the thigh. Now what you always find in the parts that the thigh connects to the drumstick, there's a little knuckle. And that knuckle is a bit of gristle, bit of cartilage. And we gotta make sure that obviously when we are doing our boning, that we're gonna cut that out as well. So as you can see, we're just exposing the whole bone. Coming down the two sides. There's that knuckle right there. And it's coming down. Always make sure you are using the right equipment, and now I've got my boning knife right there. Come down the sides, get to the point where we can now come right underneath, and we got our bone. We can do some scraping right there. Scrape. Scrape. Now remember, we're doing open boning, so we're going to continue cut through the skin. Don't know if you can see it, my hand's probably getting in the way. And expose that drumstick bone right there. Quite a bit of skin. Let's trim that off, make our life a lot easier. Come to this point here, and we're saying, great thing about using a boning knife is that solid tip right there. Allows you to get into between all those little areas where a chef knife could not do the task. As you can see, with this case of just exposing that bone. Now what we're going to do at this point, we're going to take off that knuckle right there. So we're going to come at this right here, and allows us just to come through. And then from there, you can easily scrape, making sure we're keeping as much meat as possible, reducing the amount of wastage as well. Now I've got to the point where we're talking about that knuckle. Remember that knuckle I was telling you about? There it is right there. That cartilage where the thigh is connected to the drumstick. And with this, the whole purpose of what we're doing is not to cut the skin. So at all times, you follow the meat. You follow the lines that it gives to you. You don't make your own lines, you follow the lines that the meat, the bones is telling you to where to go. As you can see, it's just following it around. And then eventually, it will start coming away. Let's just trim that right there. And there we have it, our boned out leg and thigh. Now as you can see, we've cut the skin. This is normal, just solid boning. Next, we're going to be showing tunnel boning. Now with tunnel boning, it's different to what we've just demonstrated here. Tunnel boning means that we're not going to penetrate or cut through our skin. So in order to go about doing so, we've got to realize we have the drumstick, we have the thigh. It's important that you use them as two entities and not as just one. So therefore, with that being said, we're going to work with our thigh bone right there. Now the thigh bone, we're coming down this time. So whereas before I was coming that way, now I'm going down the bone. I'm coming down. So now I'm not exposing the bone the direct way, I'm coming down on the bone to expose it. get to our point, allows us just to scrape it. As you can see, we're exposing that bone right there. Now, it's exactly the same as when we were doing our open boning, is the anatomy is still the same. We still have that knuckle right there. Only difference is how we going about getting that knuckle. So, as you can see, I'm scraping all the way down. I'm now exposing that knuckle right here. That's it right there. By doing it this method as well, you're reducing the amount of wastage. And why would we do tunnel boning? It allows us to put a filling right inside and creates that nice ballantine shape as well. So, as you see, we're going down. We got to a point, we've exposed it, yes, look at that. Alrighty, so at that point you can break off that bone. Now remember what we were saying, two separate entities we're working with. So at this point, the thigh bone has been removed, skin still intact. Now we're working with the drumstick. With the drumstick, you're gonna score just at the point of the knuckle right there. We're scoring all the way around. Now you're making sure that you cut to that bone, but you cut through those little white tendons as well. You got those little white tendons. Don't worry about them as much right now. We will deal with them afterwards. So we just want to cut through. Now, going back this same way. We got our bone. We got that knuckle. Exact same thing again. We want to remove that knuckle. So whereas before we were quite easily cutting out that knuckle, use your fingers, identify. Instead of going in blind, use your fingers, using your thumb, using your fingers, identify where you need to cut. Once you're in a position where you know where you need to cut, make sure your cuts are precise. And number one, definitely make sure you got a sharp knife. So, almost in the process, we're gonna start coming down. Easy start, cut through right there. As you can see, we're just going in and exposing that bone. Ready yet, almost. Because then we're going to get to a stage where we're in a position where we can just pull that bone right out. Making sure, exposing it fully. And that scraping there is using it to bring it up, that extra bit as well. Now we're back at this stage, we can now come in, feeling for where the bone is. Is right there. Thinking about health and safety at all times. There we go. Just separating that bone from the meat. As you can see, it's a task that does involve you taking your time to make sure that you are following the lines of the meat at all times. we're going to be using our cloth. Twist, twist, twist. Gives us our other bowl. And there we have it. Now at this stage, as we were saying, you've got those little tendons. What you can easily do with a cloth, just pull them out. Pull them out. Be careful how hard you pull, because you may take a little bit of meat with you as well. You want to get most of them out. Then now we're in a position where we can easily stuff our meat and take it from there.